This is Business Talk, your business, your success. Sponsored by Take Action Business Coaching. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and may not be the views of the staff, advertisers, and owners of the station. Advice given is not intended to replace that of your business advisor. Now, let's get down to talking about your business, your success. This is Business Talk.
Well, good afternoon, Peg. We're here.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here. Love it.
Happy Saturday, Ohio.
Yes. Happy Saturday.
Yeah.
And Pete and I Pete, we've been coaches for how long here now?
13-ish years.
It seems like just a few years. It's been such a joy, such a great journey.
It seemed like a few days, right?
Yeah, it's been a journey of enjoying and...
Your kids were little when you started this.
Oh, my gosh, they were. They were 4 and 1.
Yeah, that's pretty little.
Oh, my. That is pretty little.
Now
I cannot believe
you have a junior and a freshman in high school?
8th grade.
Oh, 8th grade.
Eighth grader.
And junior.
Yes. Wow.
Wow.
So that is amazing. What a wonderful journey. And what you know what we're going to do today when you're listening to this radio show, you know what? You're going to be inspired. You're going to get excited about what you do at work, whether you're a manager, whether you're an owner, whether you're a leader, whether you're a team member. We want you to take away some really good ideas and strategies on how to make it a better you.
Yeah, and it's about you. And whatever role you're in, and some of us are in multiple roles where you're actually participating and you're the business owner, and we want to help you to get better. And a lot of what we work with people on are relationships.
Yes.
I mean, that's where 75% of our time is spent on helping people to get along and communicate and build relationships with other people.
Right, exactly. And, today we're going to start with our format. Our format's going to be good news, and we're going to get there in a minute. But
yeah.
what
we always do some good news. But
yes,
the topic for today, since it's still January, it's about resolutions, about how we make them and how we can do it all year long, and what are some things that we should think about when we start setting those new resolutions for the new year.
Well, and think about, I liked how you said the resolutions, and think about some of the things that you can take away that we're going to talk about today that you can apply. We want you to take action on the items that we're going to give you ideas. Right. When people take action on what we're suggesting, they make more money, they have more time, and they're happier.
What's the name of our company?
Take Action Business Coaching.
I'll be darned. It's not... Think about it for a long, long time coaching company.
It isn't. And in fact, our website is takeactionbusinesscoaching.com. So you can listen to all of our radio shows.
You can.
They're all by category. Alan does a great job of listing them. And we have Elizabeth who puts them on our site. And they're there under Business Talk. You can go there and look at all of our archive shows.
Very good. Very
all
good.
Right. So go ahead, and Pete, tell us some good news.
All right. So, man, they got some, a whole mess of different types of good news here. Let's see one of them. The Dakota Access Pipeline. Between September and October alone, oil production grew because of this pipeline that they finally got up and running by 78,000 barrels a day, which is, if anybody knows, it's 42 gallons per barrel, in case you wanted to know that.
Okay.
The state peaked. North Dakota has increased production up to about 1.1 million barrels a day in a month. So 135,000 more than was produced. Compared with January of 17, has an additional 15 drilling rigs in operation. It's created more than 850 new wells. State revenue grew by $43 million. So it's helping. The big thing about these pipelines is that it's safer to transport this oil by pipeline than rail car. They were doing a lot of it because of the demand. They're moving it by rail car, and it's a lot safer.
Oh, well, that's good news.
Yeah. Tax reform, we talked about this at previous shows, is that it appears that the tax reform should help our economy to grow. And really what we want to do is to be able to make the economy bigger and to grow our GDP. And it appears that as long as things move forward the way we expect it to, it's going to increase the size of the economy.
Well, and that was the whole purpose. One of the purposes.
That's the purpose.
And so we're seeing that trend happen.
Yep.
Okay, good.
And this has happened before. John Kennedy did it back in the 60s, and, of course, Reagan did it.
I was going to say Reagan. That was
those are the two big ones.
Oh, wait, Reagan.
Big.
What did he call it? Oh, it was a famous saying. Reagan, not Reaganomics.
Well, that's a group.
No,
yeah,
I know.
That's a local group. Yeah, they're
no,
pretty good,
remember
too.
What Reagan called it? Oh, it's driving me nuts.
Trickle-down economics.
Is that what it was?
Is that?
Yes.
Well, that's one term. I don't know
but
if it's
Reagan,
the one you're thinking
it
of,
was,
though.
but it was a Reaganism. Anyway, okay.
Here, this gentleman that wrote this is a professor of economics at Harvard and a visiting scholar at the American Enterprise Institute. He says, at bottom line, he estimates total tax package will create an extra growth of 1.1% per year through 2019. Now, percent is huge because we were only growing approximately 2%. We're now around 3%. If we get to 4%, it's going to be a huge thing for the economy. Big
difference. And I think it was the trickle down that Reagan that he had introduced and did that. And you know what's interesting is Pete and I, as business coaches, so we're business coaches. We work with a lot of different companies and have thousands of different people, hundreds of companies. And one of the things that we're seeing is a lot of promise, a lot of hope, a lot of excitement, a lot of preparation of, like we said in our other shows, we've talked about making sure that we have the people to service all the business coming in, to make sure our customers.
Oh my gosh, where am I going to find these people from?
Yes. And making sure that our customer service is consistent and making sure that we're ready for the business because it's out there. And if you don't have it, then my question to you is, well, what are you going to do to get it? Because it's there. Right. It's your job to go and grab it.
Yep. People are investing, and we see it.
We see it. Is there any more good news, Pete?
Last piece of good news, and this is, it's not all business news, but murder rate in big cities is declining. A lot of times we like to have good news in here that you don't hear everywhere. You usually hear about the murder. You don't hear about that, in the biggest cities in the country.
Right.
The murder rate is still declining steadily.
Well, because if you listen to the news, they're going to report all the bad stuff.
They talk about the latest murder. Yeah. In New York City, which is the biggest city in the country by far, murders dropped to 290 last year, a number not seen since 1951.
Wow.
Now, that's a long time ago. Police say killings in Los Angeles were at 281, below 300 for the 8th consecutive year. Even Chicago, still very high, they fell to 650, down from 771. But 7 of the 10 largest U.S. cities saw big declines in 2017, and a lot of it is due to community policing. So the police being engaged, not just driving by in the cars, but being out on the street, and we support the police, is going out and talking to folks and getting to know people in the neighborhood and being more visible and working with the neighborhoods to work on these problems.
Oh, interesting.
So anyway, it's really good. And a good economy will help these things, too.
Well,
it's going to help
absolutely.
Everybody. Yep.
Well, you just have positive growth. This is great. Well, good news. So our topic of today is New Year's resolutions, even though I know we're after the new year, but it is a new year. It's 2018.
It's still fresh, still a little chilly, but the sun's coming, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So one of the things we want to talk about is how do you set the bar high? And I like this article. This is out of the Wall Street Journal again, and this gentleman is talking about making your resolutions public. The fear of social pressure, whether it's materialized or not, will help you keep your word.
Now, we say that, and it was interesting, Pete. The other day I was talking to a client, and we were talking about what she wanted to achieve in 2018. She said, I never like to say New Year's resolutions. I said, why? And she goes, I just thought it was always sort of kooky, and I forget the word she used, but sort of flash in the pan. And I said, well, let's change it from New Year's resolution to goals because goals are serious, and we're going to create an action plan for you to achieve your goals. So what is it you want?
Yeah, and you really don't want to go, well, it's March. I don't think I can set any resolutions until January of next year.
Right. Right. Well,
you should be setting goals all the time.
Well, when you have Pete and I, so we're business coaches, and we end up coming in and working with you, and we set your 90-day plan. What do we want to achieve? What are our goals? How are we going to achieve it? And we make sure you achieve things. That's why you make more money when we come in. That's why you have more time.
Right.
That's why you're happier. That's why your team culture shifts, because you have somebody holding you accountable and helping you along the way to make sure it happens.
And to actually do the things that you've wanted to do all this time.
But you say you're too busy.
Right. Well, pretty soon a year goes by.
Yes.
Bam.
So this year you're not too busy. Call us.
I like some of the things this author says. He says, resolutions are not for raising the bar, not for laying the bar on the ground and hopping over it, or putting the bar too high so nobody can reach it. It's not about that. It's about setting reasonable goals that are a stretch, but they're doable. They're achievable. And they're things that are important to you. It's interesting. He rattles off a few things that he reminds people of is keeping your goals in the forefront of your mind. That's one of the reasons we want to do it. Make sure you ask for the baby pictures. Be more judgmental about ideas and less judgmental about people. So if your employee has an idea, maybe it would never work, but you've got to talk about the idea and make the person feel great.
Right.
Somehow. Get outside more, a lot more. one of the reasons that we keep working out, Peg, us, is because we make a commitment to Mark, and I to you, and you to me, and Mark, is we all commit to each other that we're going to be there.
Right, and it's hard when you make, and I liked how you started out when you said, saying your commitments out loud.
To other people.
To other people, because when you do that, it makes it stronger. So it's not unusual for Pete and I to do a workshop with the team, and then I say, okay, what are you going to commit to?
And the whole team's in the room.
And the whole team's in the room.
Yeah.
And the reason we do that, and we don't make people do it, it's do you want to do it? And we always say, you know what, if you say it out loud, the likelihood of you achieving it is far greater. Because I'm thinking about
greater.
to you, Pete, one thing I made a promise to Pete and my family earlier in 2017 was I will quit drinking Diet Coke. One day, because I heard it was so bad for you.
Oh, right. Long-term health effects. Yeah,
my
right.
trainer, Nate.
You stop like that.
And I said, no more from this day forward. I never drink it again.
Man, that was good.
And it was because I promised my family, I promised my trainer, Nate, love you, Nate.
You told us right away.
And told Pete. And so we said, we're not doing it. So what commitments are you making that you can verbalize?
Could your business use some help? Call 614-306-7922 to schedule your coaching session. 614-306-7922. Now, here's more business talk.
So we're talking today about resolutions and about goals and setting goals all year long and why it's important for us as human beings and business owners to set goals.
Well, you know, one thing that when you come, Pete and I, in fact, we'll talk about it right now. We are having a 90-day planning session to
March
set our
2nd.
goal. March 2nd.
It's all day.
Yes, that you can come to.
Right.
And where you set your goals. And one of the things you do at that 90-day plan that I think is really powerful, and I'm just saying that this is another strategy. Remember, as you're listening to us, we're giving you ideas you can apply.
Right.
Is we have you write a letter to yourself about
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day of what you achieved. What is it you achieved? What did you do? In fact, it was funny, Pete, you and I, just last week, we met with our team and we wrote our 90-day plan. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, at our meeting, we pull up the 90-day plan and say, this was our goals. How are we doing on it?
Right.
And it makes you feel good. Yeah. And then at the end of 90 days, you get that letter in the mail that's addressed to yourself. And you're like, oh, my goodness, it always surprises you.
Well, and when we go to conferences, annual conferences, we do the same thing there.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the whole year. Right?
Mm-hmm. We do.
And this planning process involves some pre-work. If you've never done one before, we send you a packet of information ahead of time so that you can think about a little bit longer term than 90 days. So some of these things are about what type of systems do you have in place, what people do you need in place, and thinking about the business at a high level. And then when you get there for that day, you can work on the next 3 months in a focused way, knowing that you've got some longer term objectives in place.
Right. And really, I think we can, and now, Pete, I'm going out on a limb here, but what if we went ahead for the first caller who calls, you can come to this complimentary.
Yes.
As our guest, and I would bring someone.
And bring an employee.
So if you're a manager, bring
your partner, or
right-hand person,
one of your departmental
owner,
heads, or
general manager. Mm-hmm. So call
614-306-7922, and we'll get you set up.
Perfect.
And it's right in Grandview, and it starts at 8:30. So if you could be there by 8, and we're done approximately 3:30 in the afternoon.
And we'll have about 40 people in the room, and they're all putting together their 90-day plans, all different kinds of businesses. It's a very casual environment. And so when you call, you can be complimentary, and it's a $500 value. So this is a nice value.
So again, 614-306-7922. And it's a structured way to make sure you have a good concrete plan for the next 3 months.
I like it. Okay, so getting back into our resolutions.
2nd.
Yes.
All right. So anyway, we're talking here about New Year's resolutions, and Peg reminds me that it's really about goal setting and goal setting all year long and making sure that you have focus on what you want. And one of the things that all of us need to do from time to time, and you don't need to do this too frequently, but maybe once a year or so, just rethink your values, and is your life aligned well with those values?
That's a good idea. Like, write down your values, in other words. Like, have you thought about it?
What are the things that are important to you? You know, like me, I've got 3 adult children, so spending time with my kids, doing things with each of them, they're different, that they enjoy. So that's something that's important to me. So I need to set goals that help me live out that value the way I want to.
That is brilliant.
So you've got to think about that when you're thinking about
You've taught me a lot
setting.
about that, Pete, of your values and living them. Yes. I think I've made decisions now just through your coaching with me of being purposeful with what we choose to do, because we're not on this. So here's an exercise, talking about New Year's resolution.
All right, here we go.
Is you write down, make a graph, and it has 80 squares. So you have to make 80 squares, however you want to do that.
Okay.
So in other words, you would be 10 across or 8 down or vice versa.
Yeah.
Then
8
you
times
need
10.
to need to shade in for every year that you've lived. You need to shade in the 80% graph. So if you're 50,
Oh, gotcha.
you have to shade in
50
of the boxes.
So you got a visual how much time is
Yes.
left.
So if you have 60, and the reason we pick 80 is that's just the general average life expectancy. I mean, we're not getting too specific, but about 80. So then that's how much time you have left. So look at your graph and look at your box. And what we want to challenge you with is being purposeful with where you want to go, what you want to do, and how you want to get there.
Right.
And as coaches, that's what we do. Is we said, okay, this is where we are. What do we want to achieve? Because we want you to be happy. What does happiness mean defined as you? And that's what coaching's about.
Yep.
It's figuring out what makes you happy and then letting you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get you there. So if you want that boat on the lake, or if you want that lake house, or if you want that larger home, or if you want to give to charity, or if you want to volunteer your time,
Right.
or if you want to spend more time with your kids,
And you want to retire or whatever it is.
whatever it is,
Right.
let's figure that out and then take our path to get there.
Yeah. So we need to think in a pretty broad view first, and then think about longer term, and then are we really living our business life and our personal life in accordance with our values?
Yeah, I like that.
Great.
And it's really interesting, that whole box thing. I also had read where you put pennies in a
In a
vase,
jar
in
or
a jar.
something, or marbles.
So you put
Yeah.
80 pennies or marbles, and you take out as many as, you're old, and that's how many. And so every day you have to take one out. And that allows you to see. And the purpose isn't to say, oh, woe's me. The purpose is to embrace and be present in every day, to realize that it's precious.
Oh, that's a good one. Being present. Yeah.
Yeah, being
Yeah,
present.
the
and
author
precious.
here suggests is stop walking with your phone in your hand all the time. Look up and see how strange and beautiful the world is.
Oh, Modern Family had the best episode.
Did
oh
they?
my gosh, they did.
About
where
the
Haley,
smartphones and
yeah, Haley lost her phone, and
how old is Haley? 'Cause
Haley's
I don't know that.
in her 20s now.
Okay.
Like she's
Oh,
probably
that's
early
a
20s.
disaster. You lose your phone,
Yes,
man.
and so all of a sudden she was going to get a phone later that day.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden she was like, "Oh my God, it's so beautiful! I never realized how nice it was." She was working at a golf course, and she started talking to people and talking to her friends, and
Yeah.
she became a different person, and she became this whole person. And then she got her phone back at the end of the episode, and they were like, "Oh, Haley, you're just so wonderful to be around." And then she gets her phone, and she's right back to what? Huh?
Yeah. Right. Huh?
Yes, it's
Okay.
it's
That's
addicting.
funny. Now,
Yeah.
when Emily, my daughter Emily, and I were on the Appalachian Trail last year, she was there for 3.5 months. I was there for 1 week. Mm-hmm. But your phone doesn't work in a lot of places, and to save the battery, we just put it on airplane mode and then turned it on once in the afternoon, saw if there's anything there, and then turned it off. And it's kind of nice to not have a phone for a while.
It is, and challenging you that
You don't know until you do it.
no
how nice it
electronic
is.
day. You could do a no electronic day at your office.
Yeah, there's a cool goal.
I did talk to a business about that, and they go, "What do we do with customer service and everything?" I said, "There's a way around it if you want to do it.
Yeah.
Even a no electronic day for a while." Allie went to I forget the camp. It was a camp that was away. I forget what it was called, and they all couldn't bring their phones. Nobody in the camp was allowed to have a phone.
Wow. Okay.
So they locked them up or whatever. And
Yeah.
and so it was a week without a phone. And Allie, now she's a junior in high school. She
That's
said
tough.
it was wonderful.
She liked it?
She said what made it wonderful, though, is that her friends were at the camp too. So nobody had their phones. She said it was joyful. It was like, she goes, you know what? It was less stressful.
Right.
It was,
Isn't
she
that
goes,
funny?
I didn't realize the amount of stress. But none of my friends had it because all her friends were there. So
Right.
if they were all there, she went and, who else are you going to text other than your parents? And she was fine not texting us. So
it was
calling
kind of
us.
like old school camp, like when we
Yeah.
were kids.
Yes.
We didn't have phones.
So it'd be good to challenge you for 2018. When are your electronic shutdowns going to be for yourself?
A no phone day. Ooh.
A no phone day, a no electronic day. Now, again, you have to prep it because people are going to expect customer service. So you don't want to just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was my no electronic day. I couldn't
Yeah.
reach you."
Well, you could take turns, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's some other suggestions. These are kind of neat. They're all over the map here. Eat more crow. It's the most nutritious of brain foods.
I like that. Oh, I like that.
Befriend someone at least 20 years younger than you and someone at least 20 years older than you.
Ooh,
I like that.
I like that.
I miss my mom was 92, almost 93 when she died, and she had a huge family with lots of older people. And I don't interact with as many older people anymore, and I miss it. You know
well,
what I
they're
mean?
wise. They're wise.
Right.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, I like that one. That's great. Check your facts again. There's a mistake in there somewhere. You just haven't found it yet.
Okay.
Donate blood. Part of you will help save someone's life. Yeah, I
So
believe
these
that.
are the resolutions. So this is Peg and Pete, and we're talking about New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
And so Pete's going through some ideas.
Yeah,
This
some
is
ideas.
good.
This author had some pretty interesting ideas. Donate blood. I like that one. A lot of us have put our names on the back of our cards or our driver's licenses to donate your body. I'd suggest doing that. My daughter Emily is in med school down in Virginia, and they all have a cadaver that they're working on. But everybody's a volunteer that's on that table, and she's still. It's a little awkward in the beginning.
It's probably disturbing when you
But
first
she
have
knows that the person signed a paper saying, "This is cool. I want to help you by donating my body." You know what I mean?
so that you can study it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
That is great.
Yep. Work harder at making the familiar strange. Walk or drive a different route than your daily routine. We talk about that sometimes.
Yeah, challenging your comfort zone in order to grow. Oh, like we say this. When was the last time that there was a first time?
Well, that's good.
So when was the last time, in other words, when was the last time you did something for the first time in your life? And if you can't think about it, then we need to plan. Because to your point about challenging your comfort zone is growing, then what is it going to be?
And we work with a couple of very large public corporations, and one of the things that we've suggested to them is get up from your desk and go work in another cubicle or go find a conference room and go work there for a couple hours. You got something really taxing to do, you've got to work on a budget, or you got to do something you really have to think, get out of your regular workspace and go somewhere else.
I like that.
Or get up and go introduce yourself in another one of these big departments that you interact with only by email.
That's brilliant.
They're humans too, right?
Yes.
Work away from your desk. That's what he suggests. Read something flamboyantly irrelevant, something that has nothing to do with your work or your current hobbies.
So now that is something my friends challenged me on because I read so much that
business.
it's all business.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, for goodness sakes, read something that doesn't have to apply.
Yeah,
I've got 3 books I have going now. I just finished
a
that
beach
one.
book is what you need.
Yeah, a beach book.
Come
Yeah,
on.
so I like that one. Yeah.
Right. Call someone you don't need to call.
Oh, that's a good one.
Well, one of the things we do, and I like this because I enjoy talking to people, is a lot of times when I'm driving, I'll call past clients of ours.
You do that, and it matters.
Just to check and see how they are.
You know what? It means so much to them.
Right.
I love how you do that.
Right.
That is such. I should do that.
But they're always happy to hear from you. Like, holy cow, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm driving. I was thinking about you, and I'm calling you, man.
I like that.
Look up at the sky instead of the concrete.
There you go. But now keep in mind, look, if you're crossing the road, don't do that. Yeah.
Look out in the street occasionally to make sure
do
you
that.
don't walk into
I
a
like
cab.
that. Looking up at the sky instead of the concrete.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that one.
When you turn back to your routine, you'll feel refreshed. That's pretty good.
That is good.
Take your work more seriously and yourself less seriously. Yeah. The more seriously you take your work, the easier it will become to take yourself less seriously.
Interesting. I like that.
The constant reminders of your ignorance should never cease to amaze you.
The constant, I like that.
When you're having a bad day, call the closest friend you haven't talked to in a long time. That's interesting.
That's a good one.
Somebody you haven't talked to in a while that you think might be comforting.
Oh, that would be good. And who knows? You're going to be helping them, and then that makes you feel better.
Right.
That's good.
Get better at accepting compliments. No, I have trouble with that. Despite all you know and all they don't know about how the sausage was made, people still have a right to like what you did.
I missed that again. Say that.
Get better at accepting compliments.
No, the one oh, that was the whole series. Okay, well, more when we return.
To learn more about today's topic, call 614-306-7922. Now, back to more business talk.
All right, so we're talking today about the new year and goals/resolutions.
Yes, and I have to tell you, this show has been just darn right enjoyable. I really liked, right before the break, what Pete, I wouldn't mind going back. Do we have a few more of these?
Oh, yeah.
These are great. These are resolutions to challenge you. So we're going through some ideas of what, and we call resolutions goals, of what you can challenge yourself with. And again, as always, you can go to our website, takeactionbusinesscoaching.com.
Right, and there's an icon on there that says Business Talk. If you click on that, you'll see past shows.
So if you missed some of these before, you can go back, and I think we're labeling this what? New Year's resolutions, right?
Yeah, That's what
New
we'll
Year's
call it.
resolution.
Yeah, let's do that.
So so we were talking about some of the things. This is it's just darn right so good. I mean, these are great suggestions.
So and it's not on this list, but one that I did a few days ago is just send a card to somebody that you haven't heard from in a while. Drop a note in the mail. I know you try calling them, you text them, blah, blah, blah. Send a note.
Well, there's
send
a
something
book.
in the mail.
I forget the book title, but it's 365 or 300. And it's this gentleman who wrote a card every single day of gratitude, of thank you. A thank you card every day to one person for a year.
Okay.
And the difference that it made, how much it gave him back.
Yep.
And I want to just tell you, Pete and I do 360s, meaning we do interviews of people for all different companies. And we did this for one office head in Columbus here in Ohio. And we heard back one of the number one things that this office head person did was he wrote cards to people of thank you. He wrote notes.
Oh, so this is a great thing.
Yeah. And they said
good.
continue to do it. So I like your idea of writing cards.
That. Okay. And
personal note.
It takes a couple minutes.
It was the number one thing. And he was like, oh, Lord. He goes, I like doing it, but it's so much time. And I go, well, you have to keep doing it. And he did it with a smile. Don't get me wrong.
That's good.
But,
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's some more. Learn something interesting every day.
Now, how would you do that, do you think?
Well, you might have to not read the same newspaper every day, or look at the same website every day, or talk to the same person every day. I mean, I've told you this before in my old factory experience. I would consciously, because I worked in large chemical plants with lots of employees and lots of different buildings, et cetera, I would make sure I walked different ways, different days, to bump into people I wouldn't normally see if I took the route that I just let myself go on. We usually drive the same way to work all the time.
Right. And
Change
that was
it up
one of the
on
resolutions,
purpose.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing that we do to help continue learning, Pete, and it's really simple, people don't think about it, is podcasts. I mean, I know you're listening to the radio and you're learning here now, which is wonderful. Right. Or you can go to our website and listen to our radio shows and learn that. Right. And or get on podcasts. It's an app on your phone.
Like that Lewis Howes thing. You turned me on to that. That is such good stuff.
It's wonderful.
It's called
Lewis Howes.
School of Greatness.
Thank you.
That's what it is. It's excellent stuff.
Perfect.
And these are short. These are 5-minute things, most of them.
Some of them. And then some are interviews.
Longer, but they're very good.
Yeah, because he does a series of interviews that are really brilliant. And then he does that 5-minute, I think, one every Friday or something.
They're fantastic. Yeah.
So they're easy.
On a whole variety of topics.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Okay,
so
I
that's
like
one that would help you learn something surprising every week. One way or another, even the people who insult you, help pay your salary. Treat them with respect.
Okay.
And we talked about this with a client in the past week, that even employees that you think you have a little issue with or this and that, you still got to talk to everybody because they're going to have some information that you need. Mm-hmm. And you may be able to help them. Mm-hmm. And the more you interact with them, you may get to the point where you go, this person's okay anyway. Most of what passes for modesty in the world is just posturing meant to elicit praise. There's no
I didn't understand what you said before.
Most of what passes for modesty in the world is just posturing meant to elicit praise. There's no such thing as humility. There's only realism about how much of your life you owe to luck. Always keep that in mind, that a lot of things are luck, and people will think you're humble.
Just for the humble part, because I don't believe that people are lucky. I believe that you can make your own luck.
You lay a foundation that allows good things to happen.
Exactly.
Naturally.
The way we think, what we put into it, how we plan, the effort we put in, makes people very, very lucky when they're positive and they give back.
Tend to be lucky, right?
Tend to be lucky when you do all of that, when you give and volunteer and help.
And again, this is Peg and Pete with Business Talk. We're talking about resolutions and goals and some things that you might consider doing to make your life and your business and your employees and everybody's lives happier in the coming year. Don't forget to ask to see the baby pictures.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. I don't usually forget that. That would be something.
Yeah, you wouldn't, but a guy might.
It's interesting.
Some guy might.
That question about don't forget about the baby pictures. I was talking to my dad. My dad goes to doctors, and my stepmother, and they said that that he, before he always had male doctors, and now he's had a few female. Like one was a female doctor, and then another one was a nurse practitioner.
Okay.
And he said the difference was interesting because the woman would ask the question, "How are you doing?" And
general, very broad. Yeah.
How are you feeling? Yeah. Is there any differences? They got on a personal basis, like in other words, let me see the baby pictures.
Okay.
Where the
That's
regular,
interesting.
the other, the doctor in the past, at least the male, and I'm not saying that it's not the, it was more, okay, let's get right back down to it.
Yeah, that's
and
funny.
I like that because I think sometimes I forget to say, how are you? How are you feeling? That kind of thing.
So here's some more. Say I don't know at least 10 times a day.
Okay.
That will disqualify you for a career in politics, but make you a better person.
I like that.
All right. Introduce yourself to all the people at your job whom you see every day but haven't met yet. If you're in a big place, like we have a couple of corporate clients, there are people they don't know.
Well, even a big manufacturer we have out in Newark, there's people that I'm sure they don't know.
Right.
And here's an idea. If you would like this list, because this has been a really neat list of items that you could do, you could call Pete or email. So if you go to our website, takeactionbusinesscoaching.com, you can contact us through that.
Right. Or email is PeteMcDowell@actioncoach.com.
Or our phone number is
614-306-7922.
Sometimes you're driving. You're probably driving listening to this. So,
right.
So under a website's generally easier to remember.
Right.
TakeActionBusinessCoaching.com.
Right.
So, so keep going with the list, Pete, because now I'm challenged to. So what we want you to do is not pick everything, but maybe pick a couple things. Because whenever you're changing a habit, you don't want to take a whole lot at one time and change because you want sustainability.
You want to be successful too. Yeah. Call your mom.
That's a
if you
good
can.
one.
Yep. Forget about getting better at what's easy for you. You're already pretty good at it. Don't worry about tuning that skill.
You know what's funny is I always use that. I was like, oh, I already know how to do that. So I actually didn't read or hone that skill. I was like always trying to do something else. And I actually had to change it because I realized I probably should hone the skill I'm really good at and make myself even better. So I like this.
But it's suggesting get better at what's hard for you.
Yeah, I like that
if things
too.
are difficult. If you think you're the smartest person in the room, you must not have talked to everybody in that room.
That's good. That's good. I like that one.
Oh, man, I like that one. Stop walking around with your phone in your hand all the time. Look up and see how strange and beautiful. I think I said that one before. That was a good one.
But I like that. That's worthy of 2 times because I find myself even more addicted to my phone than I used to be.
Yeah, it is addictive.
It's addictive.
I mean, we don't have it with us, but we had an article in the past about it's actually
addictive,
clinically addictive. I mean, it is addictive to your brain.
Right.
Your brain likes it.
Right.
I mean, there's no doubt.
It gives you feedback.
Right.
And it's why we constantly need feedback now. I like that.
Don't laugh at things you don't understand. Take the time and trouble to understand them first.
Okay.
Most likely, you'll find that once you understand them, they either become even funnier than you thought in the first place, or not funny at all.
Okay.
Own your mistakes. Land your successes. In other words, give away everything you know to everybody. I love that one. And we try to do that. We really do.
Own your mistakes.
That, and the second one is lend your successes, which I take is if you know something about something that somebody else doesn't know quite as much, just give it to them.
Well, as business coaches, and now Pete and I are business coaches, and that's what we do for a living. That's why we have our radio show, and the sole purpose is so that we can give back our knowledge and our experience to help you who are listening be better. That's our goal.
That's it.
That's our values. Our values is to help.
And our
help
value
people.
for our clients, and Peg and I had a chance to speak to a group of coaches a few months ago, and I remember we were up in front of them talking about all these things, and there's a lot of things going on in these businesses, and basically it came down to, well, you know, what we really do is help people get stuff done. That's it.
Right.
And the quicker we can do that, and the more effectively we can do that, the better everything is.
We do it quicker
Get stuff done, man.
and better so that you're happier with either making more money, having more time, and a better quality of life.
Right.
Or all three.
So I'd like this one. Get home 15 minutes earlier today. Now, it's a Saturday, but Monday and Tuesday, plan to get home 15 minutes earlier. It'll make you 15 minutes more efficient.
15.
Just 15 minutes. And if you do that, if you decide that I'm leaving at 4:45 instead of 5, you're going to speed up a little bit or maybe drop some D priority off your list and you're going to get out of there on time.
I like that.
Isn't that a cool one?
That's a nice gift to give to yourself. You know, Pete, this was a good list. Are we done with the list this time? And so we're going to continue in our next section on successful resolutions. I really like what we're about to talk about. Next, it's looking at your resolutions and shifting some things. And some of it is a little bit about exercise, which I thought is some fascinating tips.
And time of day and how much you challenge yourselves at different times of day.
Taking breaks and how to increase your production so that you're more efficient.
Could your business use some help? Call 614-306-7922 to schedule your coaching session. 614-306-7922. Now, here's more business talk.
We're talking today about goal setting and about resolutions because it's the beginning of the year, and one of the things that we suggest is that you should be setting goals all year long, and then you don't have to wait till January
Exactly. To do it. So the New Year's resolutions could be for one thing we do is we have you write down all the goals, and then we have you put a window pane. And we say, okay, to the left of that window pane, top left-hand corner, that's your first quarter.
Oh, first quarter, second
quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter.
Yeah, I like that. It's very. I'm very visual.
Well, you and I did that,
but
as
you can
well.
get overwhelmed.
Well, you can, and Pete, like you and I, we were like getting upset. Well, I shouldn't say you. I shouldn't speak for you. I get upset because we weren't working on things. Like one of the things we want to do is write a book. Right. We also are looking for new coaches to join our firm.
Right.
So
and we've ramped up our marketing.
And we want to add.
Got a big
we want to add 5 more new clients.
Right.
So which one do you work on? So we did the window pane, and I guess you could call those New Year's resolutions, but they were more goals.
Yep.
And so,
well, the great thing about that process is and it's really important for all of you guys who are business owners or even department managers, leaders in your organization, is that you always tend to seem to have a lot more that you could do than you have time and resources to do. So it's great to get them all in one spot and take a look at those things and figure out, well, what things aren't I going to do?
Right.
And stop
Let
beating yourself
off the
up.
hook.
Yes, exactly. Because we all do that. We go, oh, there's a dozen things I need to do to fix this place. I'm doing them all tonight.
I like it.
Okay.
Well, okay. So let's talk a little bit about this. Was interesting. Are we going to talk about the break one where you take breaks?
Well, yeah. This article again was out of the Wall Street Journal. It's in the review section, and it's about how we can keep our New Year's resolutions to be healthier, happier, more productive. And it talks about research on timing. In other words, time of day, from when to exercise, from the best time to do focused work. So what time of day you might attack something may have a big, maybe a big factor on how successful you are at it.
Well, did it say that it should be 10 hours, or was that just working out should be? They said
no.
It was your most productive 10 hours after you wake up.
Oh yeah, we can get right back to that.
Yes, I was just curious of how many hours. I thought that was interesting. So from the moment in which you wake up, it's X amount of hours is your peak time.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so we're going to go to the exercise. So, okay, lots of us have over the years said, I'm going to exercise more in the next year, right?
Right.
That's happened almost every day. So one of the things they suggest is in a 2015 study of 121 athletes, these researchers from the University of Birmingham in Alabama found that individual performance can vary as much as 25%, which we kind of know, based solely on the time of day, morning, afternoon, evening. And that performance typically peaks between 10 and 12 hours after waking up. So if you're going to go bench press a real heavy weight, you could probably do your best in the afternoons. Or even sprinting. You can sprint faster if you wait 10 hours after you wake up. It doesn't mean you can't work out in those times, but your absolute peak performance will be 10 to 12 hours after you wake up for the day.
So they're talking about working out. That is interesting. Okay, I like that.
And some of us are morning workout people, and some of us are evening workout people. I like the morning because then I get it done. I'm done.
Right. If I did the afternoon, I'd get derailed. I wouldn't end up.
Exactly.
We do it first thing in the morning because it can't be interrupted.
Right. And so, you really aren't meeting with too many clients at 5:15 in the morning.
Right. And they're not trying to reach me. But in the afternoon, it's a different story. You're right. So we know at 5:30. Then it talks about morning workouts here too, though, Pete. I thought that was interesting about how when you work out in the morning, the benefit is, you have endorphins and they make you feel better, right?
Yeah.
So working out in the morning will help you throughout the day. So it allows you to pay off. The working out pays you back throughout the day.
Well, yeah, it says cardio workouts in particular boost your mood. Swimming, running, even walking the dog can elevate your mood. We all feel better after you go for a walk with a dog, right?
Oh, right. Exactly.
When we exercise in the morning, we enjoy these effects all day long. You get to feel that. If you wait to exercise until the evening, you'll end up sleeping through some of the good feelings. So you Your body's still feeling good, but if you
I
go to
got
sleep,
it.
you lost 4 hours of it.
Darn it. I've done
You
all
know,
that work. I want to
does that
feel,
make sense?
I want to max out the way I feel, then exercise in the morning.
Right, exactly. That's what they're saying.
Now, I'm going to move on because I don't know if we want to move off that topic.
No, there's more on exercise.
Oh, wait, because I do want to talk about taking breaks.
Because one of these applies to us. Keep a routine.
Okay.
And it says, studies suggest that when we're likely to adhere to our workout routine when we do it in the morning, I'll say it again. Some studies suggest that we're more likely to adhere to our workout routine when we do it in the morning. I believe that because we've been working out for 8 years, right?
And we work out in the morning.
Every morning.
And this is Peg and Pete with Business Talk. And our topic today is about New Year's resolutions and how to make sure that we're getting the most out of it. And I really we're talking about the timely science of working out and being productive.
Right.
And so we're talking about exercise now. Now we're saying first do it in the morning because you can benefit. It doesn't mean you can't do it in the afternoon.
You're more likely to stick with it. The other thing it suggests, and we know this too, is especially if you enlist a regular partner, it'll help you form a habit. Keep it. Mm-hmm. And it works. It's true.
It helps us.
Scheduling exercise in the morning actually helps with losing weight. When you first wake up, having not eaten for 8 hours, your blood sugar's low. Since we need blood sugar to fuel a run, morning exercise will use the fat stored in our tissues to supply the energy we need. So if we exercise anyway, even before breakfast, we're going to burn some things that we might not if we wait later. When we exercise after eating, we use the energy from the food we just consumed. In many cases, morning exercise can burn 20% more fat than later post-food workouts. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
So it's better in the morning is what they're saying about that, too.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
And then the actual performance is actually a little bit better in the afternoon. So the bottom line performance, but the mood and the weight loss is better for morning.
So there's benefits of both morning and afternoon.
Right.
It's just what works for you and the expectations you have.
Right. And this is Peg and Pete with Business Talk, and we're talking about New Year's resolutions and setting goals and those types of things. And we're talking about timeliness of some of these activities. And we're getting to the break-taking thing.
Yes, I want to take – you know why? Because in our coaching – in fact, we were at a plumbing company that we coach, and I was just telling them this. I think that's why it rang true, as I said, how many times are you getting a break? And this person is a dispatcher, and she's such a hard worker. And she's like, well, I just eat lunch at my desk, and I can't really get away.
I don't get a break.
And I'm like, you know what? That is not the intent of the owners. That is not what they want. And frankly, that's a disservice.
It's not good for her.
It's not good for you.
Yeah.
Because Pete's going to tell you a little bit about why, but this is why we take breaks. Can you explain?
Yeah, so if I'm a evil capitalist business owner, I want to make people work as fast as possible and never take a break, right? Well, that's not really true. That's going to hurt my company if I do that. Right. So it just says that a powerful way to recast your daily routine and actually get more done is to take more breaks. So we should all think about how often are we taking breaks?
Right.
And we should probably take more of them.
And it's counterintuitive because you're thinking I'm going to push through it, but the breaks really allow you to regenerate and to be more powerful when you come back.
Right. Short breaks can help us to maintain focus and reactivate our commitment to a goal. And I get that. When I worked in the plant, a lot of times when I'm working on something, really have to think a lot or budget, I'd stop what I was doing and go out and walk on the plant for a few minutes, talk to somebody, come back, and it was like a fresh start.
Right. Well,
it's energizing.
you just said a second thing that they had suggested, which I absolutely loved. I guess that's why I wanted you to jump into this, is when you do take a break, talking to other people is actually it can be a stimulus.
Yes. Certain types of breaks are better than others. They did a study with some Danish school children whose test scores sagged in the afternoon. If the students were allowed to have a 20 to 30-minute break to eat, play, or chat before the test, they actually scored higher than the morning test takers.
So isn't that interesting? So Pete and I have a manufacturer we work with, and we're like, sometimes they're doing a repetitive action for 3 hours straight, or maybe even more, Pete. But
they'll spend an entire shift in one spot on one machine doing one task.
And so we were saying, okay, can we increase our production when we take them off, take a break, have a conversation, and then put them back? Will we get more production? We're going to test it.
Maybe.
To see if it will be more helpful. Now, I also think that it depends on the personality of people, because some people don't get energized by talking to others.
Right.
You got to keep that in mind.
In general, frequent short breaks are more effective than occasional ones. The ideal break involves movement. A 2016 study by the International Journal of Behavioral Nutrition and Physical Activity, wow, that's a long one,
That's a long one.
Yeah, showed
Sheesh.
that hourly 5-minute walking breaks boosted energy levels, sharpened focus, and improved mood throughout the day, and reduced feelings of fatigue in the late afternoon. A lot of us have gotten tired, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
It's time to go get a Coke, or it's time to get a Snickers and a Coke. And it's time
Well, you know what our trainer Nate said is that whenever, like, let's say you're eating at lunch at noonish, let's say, and let's say you're eating carbs, let's say you're doing pasta or a sandwich, that it's 2 hours from that point in which your body starts reacting to the food and it slows it down and makes it sleepy. That's
so it's
why.
a natural consequence of that.
Of lunch. I mean, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to get up and move around at 2 o'clock.
And it says having these little microbursts of activity are more valuable than a single 30-minute walking break. So take 3 10-minute walking breaks instead of a longer break.
Okay.
That's what they're suggesting.
That makes sense.
Yep. Regular short walking breaks increase motivation and concentration and enhance creativity, according to researchers at Stanford. Time alone can be replenishing. Of course, it depends on your behavior profile, too. Researchers found it more powerful effects when a break is spent with others. And high-stress occupations such as nursing, social, and collective rest breaks have been found to minimize physical strain, cut down on medical errors, and reduce staff turnover. So taking a break is good for your end results. Likewise, researchers in South Korea suggest that social breaks, talking with coworkers about something other than work, are the most useful in reducing stress and improving mood.
Okay. I like it.
And, that's a great thing for business owners, too, is wouldn't it be nice, and if you've got a large group of employees out there as you, as the business owner, occasionally just go out and talk to people about things that aren't related to work, just to go talk to them.
And that's what they're suggesting. And again, and I liked when they said taking a break and like signing contracts or having that conversation
That's
is not a break.
Right.
That doesn't count.
Yep. Doing all your emails. I got 10 emails to write.
But I'm on a break. Yeah, you have to
not
do
really
this.
a break.
You have to do it right. So this was good. I appreciate our show today. It was all about really looking at the future and how to make you a better you with the time you have left. Why not?
Right.
Do what you want to do.
Right. And we have lots of it. Hopefully lots of squares to all of you.
Lots of squares to all of you. Yes, that you haven't filled in your 80 squares. If you want to hear this show in its entirety, go to our website at takeactionbusinesscoaching.com. Click on the Business Talk tab, and you can see all of our shows in their entirety by each category.
This has been Business Talk, your business, your success. Sponsored by Take Action Business Coaching. The opinions expressed were those of the participants and may not be the views of the staff, advertisers, and owners of the station. Advice given was not intended to replace that of your business advisor. For more information about the topics discussed today, call 614-306-7922. 614-306-7922. Tune in next week at this time for more Business Talk, your business, your success.